Hello and welcome to Edupedia World. In this tutorial, we are going to cover part 2 of generics. In previous tutorial, we have already covered introduction to generics. In this, we see some of the details of some of the important topic of generics. So let's begin. First of all, let's see the legacy way to do collections. So this is the way that pre-Java 5 array intend to hold the strings. So you can see that we can declare an array list like that, and then we can add anything. Like over here we are adding a string, over here we are adding a dog, and then we are over here adding an integer. So a non-generic collection can hold any kind of object. A non-generic collection is quite happy to hold anything that is even not primitive. Fine, this means that it was entirely up to programmer to be careful. Having no way to guarantee collection type wasn't programmer friendly for such strongly typed language. Why so? Because it could give you an error. Now if you try to fetch the elements from this array list, it will be up to programmer and it will be difficult to do so because at index 0 you have to retrieve a string. At index 1 you have to retrieve a dog, and index 2 you have to retrieve an integer. So programmer should remember that whenever in whichever code they are fetching this array list, there they should know that how to fetch it and which element will be retrieved. So you see this become really cumbersome, and over here it's using a whole of a object class attest, and since collection could hold anything, the methods that get objects out of a collection could have only one kind of return type, that is java.lang.object. So you cannot generalize the return type, it has to be object only, because since you are adding anything in your collection, so you have to only have a return type which is object. That means that getting a string back to our only string intent requires cast. So means you have to do a cast to get the string from index 0, and also you should know that you are at index 0, this array list will contain a string, or we have entered string into that. And since you could not guarantee that what was coming out really was a string, that could cast fail at runtime. Okay. So generics take care of both ends by enforcing type of your collection. Let's update the string list. So when we try to update it, it becomes like that using generics. Now it's okay to add any string in that as we have done over here, but if we try to add an object of any other type which is not string, such as dog, then this will give us a compiler error. Okay, perfect. This is exactly what we want by using generic syntax, which means putting the type in angle bracket, and we are telling the compiler that this collection can hold only string object. The type in angle bracket is referred to as either parameterized type, type parameter, or of course just old-fashioned type. In this chapter, we refer to it in both new ways. So now that you put in the guaranteed, you can also guarantee what comes out. That means you can get rid of cast when you get something from collection instead of. That means now we do not need cast, as we have seen in our intro also. Now compiler already knows that my list contains only thing that can be assigned to string reference. So now there is no need for cast. So far it seems pretty simple. Why so? Because and the new for loop, that is the for each loop, could also iterate. So this is something we have seen, that how can we iterate. And of course you can declare the type parameter for method argument, which makes the argument type safe reference. So over here you can even declare like it can only take string in a method argument. So there is no problem in adding a string. The method above would not compile if we change it to, like we are over here we are giving string, but internally we are adding an integer. So that means string is not type safe, so this cannot be done. Return types can obviously be declared type safe as well. So now we know what is the return type and we can declare it instead of declaring the whole object. Fine. The compiler will stop you from returning anything not compatible with this dog. Although what is and is not compatible is going to get very interesting in a minute. We'll see that. And since the compiler guarantees that only type-safe dog list is returned, these calling methods wouldn't need to cast to take dogs from list. Fine, so now look at this example. So over here, what we are doing is we are calling getDogList. So this method is returning us dogs. And since it's returning us a list of dog, we are actually retrieving the zeroth index element, which is a dog. Now we know that dog is coming out. But what happens with pre-Java where there was no generic? So you see that getDogList method will give us a dog. Okay, so public list getDogList, and so in that we have to declare a new array list and it will return dog. Now to call that method we need to cast it because we are not sure whether it will return dog or anything else. The cast in this example applies to what comes from list get method. We aren't casting what is returned from getDogList method, which is a list. But what about the benefits of completely heterogeneous collection? In other words, what if you like the fact that before generics you can make array lists that could hold any kind of object? List mylist equals to new array list, old style non-generic, is almost identical to list object mylist new array list object. Okay. Declaring a list with the type parameter of object makes a collection that works in almost the same way as original pre-Java 5 non-generic collection. You can put any object type into the collection, fine. So if you are doing this, this is actually meaning the same thing that you used to do pre-Java 5 and it can take up any collection. So see, this doesn't make sense because we have introduced generics to genericize or to tell the compiler that this list can take this particular type of elements. Fine. Okay, now generics and legacy code. So we'll see how generics has impacted the legacy code. So you can see over here that there we were having a list mylist new array list, which has become to list integer mylist new array list integer. And the list meant to hold only string goes from public list chain strings, and now it is taking array list. We can change that to a generic type where return type is list string and also the parameter is array list string. Easy. And if there is a code that used the earlier non-generic version and performed a cast to get things out, that won't break anyone's code. Fine. The integer I equals to integer list.get0. So over here the cast no longer needed, but it won't hurt even if we're putting it. Now let's see what if you mix generic and non-generic collection. Now here is where it starts getting interesting. Imagine we have an array list of a type integer. We are passing it into a method from a class whose source code we don't have access to. Will this work? So let's see. In the main method, you can see we are having a array list which can take up integers. Okay, so this is type safe collection since it can only take integers. Therefore, we added two integers that are 4 and 6. Okay, and then we are having a class adder. We have created an object of adder and then we are calling add all and we are passing mylist into add all method. Okay, which is returning us some integer. Now let's go to adder's add all method. So the add all method over here you see is taking list as a parameter which is non-genericized. That means it is simply taking up list. So that means the list it can take up can have integers, can have string, can have any other object. So the method with non-generic list argument, okay? But assume with no guarantee that it will be integer. So we don't have any guarantee. So what this method is doing, it is using iterator and it is actually taking up the next value. It is adding the total of all the integers that this list is having and returning that total. Fine. Now let's see what is the interesting part. Well, this will work just fine. You can mix correct generic code with an old generic code and everyone is happy. Okay. In previous example, the add or legacy method assumed means it is not guaranteed, we just assumed it. Okay. That list passed was of a integer type. Okay, but since there is no guarantee, so programmer need to be careful here in this case. Since add all method wasn't doing anything except getting an integer from a list and accessing its value, so there is no problem and there is no risk. But now imagine if you call a legacy method that doesn't read the value but add something to array list. Now imagine that there's a method that is adding something to the array list. For example, over here you can see similarly we are having a mylist which is taking up integer. We are adding to integer and then there is a class inserter and then we are calling inserters insert method and passing mylist. And let's see what this insert method does in inserter class. Well, so this is a method with non-generic list argument. So this is simply taking up a list and then what we are doing is we are doing list dot add and passing new integer 42. So you see we have actually passed a new integer 42. Okay. So what do you think in this case? Will it work fine? Well, it will because over here we are simply adding an integer. Okay, although it's not generic, but we are simply passing integer, so it will compile. But what if our insert definition is something like this? So here you see we are actually inserting a string. So will this work? Well, sadly it does. It both compiles and run and no runtime exception. Yet someone has stuffed a string into supposedly type-safe array list of type integer. Although we have inserted a string into the list which can only contain integer, so far it will still no give runtime exception. But how can it be possible? Well, that's because it still supports the older legacy code. So far it won't give any error, but in future definitely it will give. Why so? Because whenever you try to access or retrieve it and you do not do any typecast to it, okay, it will definitely give you an error. Now let's see about polymorphism and generics. Generics collection give you the same benefits of type safety that you have always had with arrays. But there are some crucial differences that can bite you if you aren't prepared. Okay. You have already seen polymorphism applies to base type of collection. Since like we can do integer. Okay. In other words, we are able to assign array list or to a list reference because list is a super type of array list. Nothing special here, polymorphing assignment. Okay, but what about this? Let's say we are having a class parent. Then we are having a class child which extends parent. Then we created a array list where on the right hand side you can see the object that we are creating can include child, but on the left hand side we are having parent. Just think about it for a minute and try to find a solution whether it's visible. Just try to think in this way that on right hand side the object that we are creating, that is new array list, can only contain child, but on right hand side we are having parent. We did something similar over here like list and array list, but this over here in generics, will this work, the polymorphism? I hope so. You are able to guess it, but if you are not able to guess it, it's absolutely fine. Let's see that. Well, it doesn't work. There is a very simple rule here. The type of variable declaration must match the type you pass to actual object type. That means on both right and left hand side it should be exactly same. So not a subtype of foo, not a supertype of foo, just foo. That means on both sides it has to be foo. Similarly, when you talk about these, where on one side you are having object, on other side you are having j button, so this won't compile. Similarly, number and integer won't do. Although it's a subtype, but still won't do. Similarly, j button is fine, object is fine, and integer is also fine. Okay. So this is how generics is related to polymorphism, that you cannot put polymorphism in the type of entry that you are doing into the array list. Okay. Now let's move forward. Parts that feel wrong for most developers is that this is not how it works with arrays, where you are allowed to do this. When we talk about arrays, where we are doing parent, my parent, parent my array equals to new child, then this is feasible in case of arrays. Why so? Because it's an array, it's not a collection. So over here, your polymorphism can be applied, okay, which means you are also allowed to do this. Fine. But this is not okay because these are the rules with generics and collections. Okay. So guys, thank you as of now. So far in this tutorial, we have seen in detail the typecasting, how it is allowed, the backward compatibility of generics, and how polymorphism is attached with generics. Okay. In upcoming tutorials, we'll also see the details about the wildcard characters and various other things. So let's stay tuned and meet in the part 3 of the generics tutorial. Thank you.